भारत एक दुनिया के सबसे बड़ी डेमोक्रेसी कंट्री है। अगर हम बात करते हैं भारत की डेमोक्रेसी के तो दो तरह की सरकार होते हैं, एक स्टेट और दूसरे केंद्र। और अगर हम केंद्र सरकार की बात करें तो दो तरह के होते हैं, एक लोकसभा और दूसरे पार्लियामेंट, स्टेट में विधानसभा। और अरुणाचल प्रदेश लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली यानी कि विधानसभा का आज आखिरी दिन होता है। और ये जो देख रहे हैं यही अरुणाचल प्रदेश की लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली फ्रंट गेट है। नमस्कार, वांचो मीडिया यूट्यूब चैनल पे आप सभी का स्वागत करते हैं और मैं हुआ तावांग वांगजन। और अब इस बार के 7वीं लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली के सभा पे कानूबरी के एमएलए जीडी वंगसू ने क्या बातें सरकार तक पहुंचाया है, क्या क्या चर्चा हुआ है, आइए देखते हैं।
जा सकते हैं तो अभी पाइप सुपरवाइजर हम लोग ने ऑलरेडी प्रमोटेड किया है। जो ग्राम सेविका, जो ग्रेजुएट ग्राम सेविका है वो जा सकती है यो सुपरवाइजर तो हम लोग उसमें अभी पाइप ये अपॉइंटमेंट ऑलरेडी कर चुका है। थैंक यू सर।
So honorable speaker
This will
sir,
be the last supplementary.
yeah. So honorable speaker sir, जो आंगनवाड़ी वर्कर्स को लेकर के जो इशू रेस किया है, इसमें मैं इतना बोलना चाहता हूँ कि अभी मंत्री जी ने बोला कि जो बेसिक क्वालिफिकेशन है 10 पास का, लेकिन अभी देखा गया है अरुणाचल प्रदेश में कि वी हैव रियली नेग्लेक्टेड दिस सेक्टर। इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, स्पेशली प्री स्कूलिंग को लेकर के। तो मैं ये बोलना चाहता हूँ कि इसमें अरुणाचल प्रदेश में अभी भी जो क्लास 10 का जो प्री रिक्विजिट होना चाहिए एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशन, लेकिन अभी देखा गया है कि क्लास 5-6 का जो लोग हैं इनको अपॉइंटमेंट दे करके फॉर द लास्ट 20-30 ईयर्स ये लोग साफ कर रहा है। तो मैं मंत्री जी से ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, क्या हम इस जो भी एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशन को लेकर के जो भी है जो रिक्विजिट्स को उसको एडहेयर कर पाएंगे कि नहीं पाएंगे सरकार का तरफ से, और ये भी देखना जरूरी है कि क्या सरकार ये क्लास 10 का जो ये है क्वालिफिकेशन जो है इसको फिर एक रिव्यू करके क्लास 10 या तो ग्रेजुएट्स तक जाने से बहुत अच्छा रहेगा। तो इसके लिए सरकार का तरफ से क्या इरादा रखता है ये हम जानना चाहते हैं। थैंक यू।
मालूम नहीं है ना कौन सा
Item number 3, short duration discussion. Sri Gabriel Denong Wangsuji may make a short statement on the matter regarding the land, soil and water conservation activity in Arunachal Pradesh. Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir. In fact, we all know that the land, air and water are three very, very important components for sustenance of life on this earth. And then the land and water resources, as we all know, are under tremendous pressure from various quarters, especially in present times, and when we especially talk about climate change and global warming. On one hand, while there are growing pressures to enhance food production, and on the other hand, there is also equivalent requirement for conserving and managing land and water resources. There is a depletion of land resources due to various regions, and then the need to meet the ever-increasing demand for food, fiber, besides other needs of housing, industries and roads, which is also contributing largely to the depletion of the land resources. And in fact, return on investments in rural areas, particularly on land-based activities, has decreased. Growing urbanization demands more lands, which ultimately has led to conversion of productive, I repeat sir, conversion of productive agricultural land for non-agricultural purposes. Our state predominantly a forest coverage state where around 79.63% is area, and that is as per the state forest report of 2019, is under forest coverage, and about 4% of the area is under agriculture and wasteland area. And this I quote from this National Natural Resources Census of 2008. The area under agricultural use is limited, and the climate change is putting additional stress on temperature and monsoon in the region, which ultimately leads to low agriculture productivity, excessive precipitation, floods in low-lying areas, soil erosion, landslide, etc. And in order to boost the state agriculture production, climate change and environmental aspects cannot be set aside. while planning for any soil and water conservation program. The only scenario, Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, is in which the available land can be utilized to meet the demands is when these resources are conserved, developed and managed in a very scientific manner to avoid further depletion, and this requires a synthesis between water, land and human resources. As we all know, these are all interrelated. The state is having 21,54,000 hectares degraded and wasteland under different category, which is 2.63% of the total geographical area of the state. It is believed that any land-based developmental measures would be meaningless unless appropriate mechanism for conservation of soil and water is not ensured. Hence, the proposed location-specific diversification would only be sustained through appropriate soil and water conservation works to check rampant water runoff, prevent loss of fertile soil, arrest premature siltation, check land degradation, rejuvenate the drying catchments, and enhance land capabilities in the state. Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to quote a study by Dr. Ashish Pandey. Ashish Pandey, who is the Associate Professor of Department of WRD and IIT Roorkee on soil erosion modeling using remote sensing and GIS, which has revealed that in Arunachal Pradesh about 669.35 million tons of soil is eroded annually with an average rate of 90.9 tons per hectare per year, which is causing serious threat to soil resources. Most of the areas are affected with dune cultivation, riparian erosion, and unscientific use of land resources. Loss of soil nutrients, especially due to erosion, is very, very concerning factors for soil and its productivity, which ultimately is causing significant impact on food security. Altogether, we all know that altogether the state is already having around 6 major river basins, 36 sub-basins and 46 catchments, and numerous rivers originate from these basins and transport silts and deposit in Brahmaputra basin. And this not only encourages change in river courses, but also causing serious damages to the productive agriculture lands in Arunachal Pradesh as well as in adjoining state of Assam. And this devastation can be prevented by adopting appropriate protective conservation measures. And then the report on recent report on this thing, degraded and wastelands of India, that is 2020 by ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, shows that the state is having 17,69,000 hectares area, which is under acidic soil condition and remains. This has so far remained unnoticed, and which is also a primary concern in Arunachal Pradesh. A proper study is therefore needed to access the ground report, which can only be done through proper soil survey and laboratory testing, and thereby suggest appropriate land use practices. So the effects of climate change is also being observed as melting of glacier in Tibet plateau has been steadily fast and furious in recent times. And this we are observing because this can be observed from the report that we are gathering from the State Remote Sensing Center in Arunachal Pradesh. And then water scarcity is also a growing problem in our state, as many districts today are facing acute shortage of potable drinking water, as these water sources are drying up, and there is changes in land use pattern are predominantly visible today in Arunachal Pradesh. This situation is also noticed in most parts of the state, where excessive exploitation of land and water resources in the wake of development and growth, which is leading us to a serious problem in coming time. And this I'm saying because in Arunachal Pradesh, what we have observed today is that the tribal communities, they own the land and all the water sources. And then tribal communities normally used to have identify each rivers, rivulets and streams by names. And we are losing those names because we are losing the water resources. And credible planning and water and resource management to tackle and mitigate these adverse effects of unscientific land use practices and climate change should be the primary concern for any government. However, this particularly considering the vast geographical area of this state, adequate investment on integrated natural resources management, especially on land, water and vegetation, should have been the common consensus of a welfare state. The seasonal overall decline in the springs affect both domestic water availability as well as agricultural use in remote areas of Arunachal Pradesh. And adequate vegetative measures using soil and water conservation means is permissible for revival of these springs for groundwater availability. Best practices like Vikas Dhara creating water security through spring set development in Sikkim may also be considered, especially in Arunachal Pradesh, as a model to address water scarcity problem in vulnerable districts of the state. This could also have significant impact on crop productivity in the isolated and remote areas. The soil and water conservation activities and technological interventions are getting wider acceptance throughout the country. And now the majority of the programs are being planned in consideration with the existing land use pattern, land capability class, agroclimatic conditions to ensure effective conservation of soil, water and vegetation and socio-economic development. And therefore, the vast land resources of the state demands highest attention to attain self-sustenance and self-reliance in terms of state agricultural growth, industries, roads and communications, irrigation, water budgeting, which is impossible without a definite long-term plan. And therefore, Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, to address this long-term debated subject, especially this thing, land resources, that's soil and water, a holistic approach for an institutional framework, I repeat here, an institutional framework needs to be developed in consultation with the departments, with the state government and other land user departments, so that factors like conservation, management and development, which is being jeopardized due to existing land use practices, especially this unscientific and unplanned manner, should be definitely be prioritized. Without appropriate planning, harnessing of these resources would be crucial in the long-term perspective. As a viable solution, government should come out with a concrete blueprint, especially with relation to land utilization policy and water conservation plan, which most of the states have already done. Right. And failing which there would be serious consequences in terms of depletion of water level, severe soil and water erosion, soil pH, deforestation, loss of productive soil and productivity, etc. So since the soil and water conservation in Arunachal Pradesh are now being clubbed under our Rural Works Department, and the activities of this important sector has failed to produce any substantial output, thereby striving to make its sustenance. And I'm talking here is with regard to the soil and water conservation unit. There's a unit in Arunachal Pradesh. There's under one director, which is taking care of this, especially this soil and water conservation initiatives in Arunachal Pradesh, that has failed to produce any substantial output, thereby striving to make its existence in state budget provisions as well. Elsewhere, majority of the program plannings was carried out in accordance with the engineering methodology, undermining the basic principle of soil and water conservation. Primarily, these activities are confined to land protection and land development works through engineering plannings, benefiting just only individuals, not keeping in view the common interest of the state or the people of Arunachal Pradesh. Honorable Speaker, sir, the existing functioning of soil and water conservation under rural development as a subsidiary unit may be looked upon as purely an ad hoc administrative arrangement which won't make any definite impact on long-term plans and policies. Despite having adequate infrastructure, trained and specialized professionals under the soil and water conservation unit, there is lack of coordination among land user departments and administrative complexities that has hindered it from making its presence felt in any policy planning on soil and water conservation at state level. Unlike in other activities of other departments, this soil and water conservation units are overshadowed due to its parent body, that is RWD, which is purely an engineering department primarily dealing with roads and bridges. And this time, the time has come for us to introspect and explore the possibilities how best to use the vast land resources of this state. This could possibly be done with through administrative reforms and strengthening of existing setup at par with other developed states. So, as land is a state subject and the onus lies with the state government for its scientific management and sustainable use, the haphazard and unplanned land use practices by various stakeholders, especially the line departments, the farmers, the beneficiaries, in a fragmented manner for decades, have been posing serious threat and accelerating land degradation and diversion of agricultural land for non-agricultural activities. No serious attempts have so far been made to address this crucial issues of this crucial subject, land and water resources in Arunachal Pradesh, unlike most of the states of the country, where dedicated departments with various nomenclature exist, especially for conservation, development, and management of the resources, especially the soil and water. The increasing significance of soil and water conservation and land development works prompted most of the state government, it's long back, decades back, to constitute different department of different nomenclatures. Here I would like to inform you that unlike in our state, different states have already constituted their own department called Soil and Water Conservation. For example, in Meghalaya, in Assam also we have already Soil and Water Conservation Department, Nagaland's Department of Soil and Water Conservation, and even supposing one of the largest states of India, in Uttar Pradesh we already have Uttar Pradesh Bhumi Sudhar Nigam. Then in Rajasthan we have the Department of Watershed and Soil Conservation. And therefore, the mandate of Soil and Water Conservation Department is very appropriate and applicable in our state, that would be the custodian for all soil and water conservation program planning in a universally accepted principle. And therefore, at this juncture, interventions like soil conservation, water conservation, land development, soil survey and investigation, land reclamation, land protection, wasteland development, springset development, catchment area treatment may be taken up more vigorously. Here I would like to inform this house that we already, even if we already have a department called Soil and Water Conservation, but I would like to make this statement that it's a strange bedfellows. It is very, very paradoxical that we have one department, the Rural Works Department, that is supposed to take care of the road and bridges, you construct the road. But in the same, under the shadow of the same department, you have another unit which talks about conservation. So it's very, very, it's a strange it's a very strange situations where we are facing a situation where we are finding two strange bedfellows. So this is the situation at this present moment. And therefore, it is very important that we take care of this, especially the land and soil conservation, water and land conservation in Arunachal Pradesh. Otherwise, it's going to be, we are going to confront a very different kind of situations where our own the basic land, water and air cannot be taken care of Arunachal Pradesh, while the entire world is trying to ensure that these three important components are very well taken care of. And therefore, the government may like to intervene accordingly, even to the extent of making the Soil and Water Conservation Directorate more effective as an independent department in the larger interest of this state. Honorable Speaker, sir, after all, we all know that the poor land makes farmers poor, and poor farmers can make a nation poorer. And therefore, I would like to throw this, in this August House, I would like to request that this particular subject need to be taken up very, very seriously, so that the productivity of our soil, productivity of our water resources, the existence of our water, whatever distinct water resources that exist today need to be taken care of, so that our food security is, so that we ensure the food security as well as ensure that the air, water and lands are taken the best care of for our future generation. With these few words, I conclude. Thank you.